A safe place. What is a safe place? Where do you find a safe place? And if you're in a safe place now, where's the next safe place? As I take you through this safe place, I want you to know that everything in here was done intentionally and with purpose and has a meaning. Like most of the things that we do in our daily life are intentional. We think about it and then we do it, whether we think it's intended or not. So, I mean, I think that's the part of the piece that is so magical. Oh my God, those discs. How many discs were there? You did a drawing, and the drawing had a certain number of discs, and you only have to make 500 of them. And I'm like, okay, fine. Every one of the discs had a different image on it. They were all different colors. They all had to have holes punched in them, and they all had to be strung together. And they were representational, maybe, of, you know, the cells within ourselves. It was like a wall that moved. And our walls are always moving if you think about it. You know, they're never staying still for too long. Our walls change. And then the panels on top of those were fiber transparent panels. They were in front of them, but from the inside they were first the panel and then the disc. And so the panels had these images that were printed on them. And that was incredible because the images were images of people and words and everything else, and you really couldn't see it too much from the outside, but when you came in and you looked up, you saw the disc and you saw the images, and you could see shadows of people walking by. I don't know. It was dreamlike. It was like a dream, being in a dream. And so the rice on the floor was one of the things we tried to connect with the people and their senses and what they experienced. Because they'd walk in and they'd step on it, and there was a clear pathway that had no rice on it, and they could walk through. But when they stepped on it, it had that crunching noise, and you knew somebody was out there. I loved the way the bamboo was tied together too, because the rope that we used to tie together it was a hemp rope, but it wasn't just, we didn't leave it just yellow.
Natural, yeah.
We just didn't leave it natural. We dyed it red and then tied it on, which made such a huge difference.
Nice detail,
Yeah, yeah. And that's the tangle of everything that goes on, you know, the knots and the unknotting, and even right down to the cushion on the plywood of the boat on top of the tire that made us like float. You could float because the interior where you would sit, you could sit on this cushion, but it would kind of move back and forth, and you had a feeling really, truly that you were on the water. You know, you really did. It's like even getting off that boat, you kind of had a little bit like off balance feeling. Like you were in a fog. You know, it was a foggy night on the boat, on the water. And the painting along the wall, that could have been the horizon, also reminded me of the ocean from seeing it at a distance. And I think if that's the ocean, and I'm floating here, and then I look off to the side, you know, those little pieces of rice could be, you know, bubbles coming up, like a wave crashing, big wave crashing on the side of it. So again, the feeling of being unsafe out there on the crashing water and safe on this boat that I'm floating in, that was still a safe place to be. The holes in the wall took the exterior into the interior just by peering through the wall. And the idea that you peek through a hole in a wall and you can see on the other side and you see this safe place, and that through the hole, in the middle of the hole, there's a little person who's also there, but they're not really there. It was so wonderful to kind of think of what side of the wall am I on? Am I in the safe place looking through the hole, or are they in the safe place and I'm peering into that safe place? You don't know. You know that safe place. It's in your mind, not anywhere else. So with our minds, we created the safe place on the interior. It was wonderful. Yeah, in the daytime it was pretty lit up, so it had a completely different feeling, right? So it was like it was all lit up, but then at night, if you went in there at night, the light coming from, so in the daytime it had a light peering down through the top, like the sun. At night, it was like a moonlight, just a full moon up there coming down and then hitting a round mirror. Again, the circle, a round mirror with a turmeric on top of it. And the turmeric was shaped in a cone shape. And it was the most brilliant yellow. You know, turmeric is just this rich color. And then to be hit from above with light, and everything else is dark, and the reflective mirror around it. And for some reason, there was this incredible blue line of color that ran around the rim of the mirror against the yellow. It was like, where am I and how did this happen? I couldn't have imagined that in my mind, but it was only through, you know, spending so much time in that space that happened. It was accidental, but it was accidentally wonderful.